Hi, it's Sandy Wyllie. Welcome to my mental health channel where I wipe away the stigma of mental illness by talking about my own personal experiences and struggles having borderline personality disorder. I talk about post-traumatic stress disorder, panic attacks, anxiety, depression, narcissism, bipolar, schizophrenia. I talk about all the different types of therapies out there and about my own experiences having sex with an unethical psychologist for 2 years. Um, I dive into a lot of topics that cover most of the areas of mental illness. But I only come on as a former patient of almost 20 years. I do not hold a degree in psychology. I am not a licensed therapist, so I cannot diagnose you or give you a professional opinion. All I ask in return of you is please be kind and respectful in the comments below. Be kind to me. Be kind to other people who comment. I love to hear about your own struggles and your own experiences. Whatever you wish to share, I always appreciate, and I always will take the time to comment back. Now, if you are new to my channel, welcome, welcome, welcome. Please hit that subscribe button on the right so you'll always be notified when a new video of mine comes out. If you like what you see, hit that like button there on the left, because that way there I'll know what videos to focus on, what people enjoy, and what people, don't like as much. Okay, today, what is passive aggressiveness? Are you passive aggressive? Or do you know anyone else? Any your friends, your family, or people you work with? Are they passive aggressive? I'm passive aggressive, okay? And we'll get right into it. What does it mean to be passive aggressive? When someone is passive aggressive, they act out their anger in ways that are cloaked and hidden, okay? So essentially, they hide their anger in little acts in plain sight of people. That's why this is uniquely insidious and destructive, okay? So it's like a convert. What's the word I'm looking for? They don't, explicitly come out because there's a lot of reasons why they do this. From childhood upbringing, they never were taught how to deal with their emotions. They were often ignored. Their feelings were ignored. They weren't allowed to express their feelings. I had a girlfriend like that who wouldn't let her children express their feelings. She'd come home from work and her daughters would try to talk to her and she'd say, "I don't want to hear it." So someone like that who had to repress all their feelings would probably end up an adult who was passive aggressive because they didn't know how to, communicate their feelings in a healthy, constructive way. And instead, they do it like insidiously in hidden and cloaked ways that are unhealthy. And we'll get into that, okay? Let's see now. Behaviors that you look for that are passive aggressive. Indirect refusal, okay? All right, so like if someone, like say you cooked a large meal and you tell your husband to do the dishes, and he doesn't say, "No, I'm too busy to do the dishes," he really doesn't answer you. He'll say, all right, like that. And then like a half an hour later, the dishes are still in the sink. And you say, I told, oh, why didn't you do the dishes, and they never said, I can't do the dishes. I have to work on something else for work, or, I promised my best friend I'd call them. He just lost his wife and I need to, spend some time, They never tell you, they never come out and say the word, no, I can't do that, all right? They never confront you. They're not honest with you. Instead, they simply don't do it. You know, their actions are telling you they're not going to do it. But their words might be saying, all right, yeah, I'll get to it. They might say something like that, or they might not answer you at all. But essentially, they don't do it, and they don't convey that to you, you know? So, you know, you just expect them to do it, and the dishes are there in the sink, and they don't get done. Instead of, you know, them telling you, I really can't do the dishes tonight. I'm sorry. I'll do them tomorrow night, but I've got to work on this project for work, or I got to call my best friend because he just lost his wife, or whatever the reason is, they never convey it to you. So how many are guilty of doing never really answering the person? The person, you know, just expects, you know. The next thing is ghosting. Oh my God, we all know about ghosting by now because it's all over the internet, right? I've ghosted best friends myself, okay? Let me just give you a great example of it. My best friend Linda, okay, didn't come to my son's birthday party. Now, I always listened to Linda's problems. Morning, noon, and night, she'd call me, even when I was working on the job. I went to her son's birthdays and everything. But not only did she not tell me, she was acting passive aggressively, because when I asked her I told her about my son's birthday party, she never once told me, oh, you know what, Sandy, I'm not going to be able to make it. She never once said that. I expected her to be there. She never once said, I'm not going to be able to make it. That's acting passive aggressively. She should have come out, and she should have spoke up, and she should have said that. I think people like that, including myself, are afraid of conflict. They're so afraid of conflict that they don't do anything, you know. So then I acted passively aggressively after that. She never told me she wasn't coming. I expected her to be there because she didn't say she wasn't. She didn't say she wasn't coming. Even my other best friend Holly said, where's Linda? Why isn't Linda here? And I go, I don't know. I have no idea. Later on, hours after I got home from the party, there's a message on my answer machine. She said, oh yeah, I couldn't go to the party. My son didn't want to go. And then, as a result of my extreme hurt that she didn't show up, I never talked to Linda again for many, many, many months after that. Eventually, I called her, but the friendship was completely shattered at that point, and that was it. It was over. I mean, she tried to call me several times, you know, and I ignored her. My ignoring her was secretly getting back at her for not going to my son's party. This is a prime example of passive-aggressive behavior. I ignored her instead of telling her I was very hurt. Linda, why didn't you go to my son's party? You know, I go to all your get-togethers. I listen to all your problems. I was very hurt. I didn't even know you weren't going to show up. Other people were asking, where were you? Because they know we're best friends. Instead of confronting her and telling her, communicating my hurt over what she did, I just ignore her and let the friendship fall apart. I ignore all her subsequent phone calls, and she has no idea what she did wrong. She didn't. She had like no idea, like, because I met her like years later and we talked and everything, and she had no idea, you know, why I did that. She said, I could never treat anyone like you treated me. I could never treat a friend like that. That's what she said. She had like no idea. So that wasn't good. I should have come out and I should have communicated to Linda, you know, that I was hurt and why I was hurt and what she did, you know, instead of just throwing away the friendship by ghosting her. All right, being late is another passive-aggressive time, all right? Another passive-aggressive behavior, not having respect for anyone else's time. So if you're upset at someone, you could just show up late to show, you know, to, instead of coming out and saying, something like that. You could just show up late for it. Like, say I don't know, I had a cold and I really didn't feel like going out with my friends. And instead of being honest, saying, you know what, I really am feeling sick. I didn't sleep last night and I got this bad cold. And, I really don't feel like going out. You end up showing up late and only spending very little time. And people think you're snubbing them when it has nothing to do with them. Instead of being honest, you show up late and don't spend that much time there. Instead of telling them, oh, I'm just really not feeling good, That's another way. And also the silence treatment, okay? Which is, didn't we cover that? Ghosting, indirect refusal. Silence can be a passive aggressive in a lot of ways. Stonewalling, okay? Like you're in the middle of an argument, all right? This would be like using silence as being passive aggressive. And my husband has done this. He's been guilty of this. We'll be having an argument and he'll just leave the room. Leave. And it's like, and he'll go in his office and shut the door on me. So that is, just going away, ignoring the conversation or ignoring the argument by not saying anything. It takes two people to argue, right? Argument is a way of communicating. It's it's not a good way to communicate, but it's better than not saying anything. It's shutting the whole thing down. That's no communication. Okay? So when you're silent and you ignore people, or someone asks you something and you don't answer it, and he's done that too. I've asked him questions and he doesn't answer the question, like that. Like if someone asks you like a simple question, is it going to rain today? Should I bring an umbrella? I don't know if I should bring an umbrella. I'm going out. And someone says, well, it rained yesterday. That doesn't answer the question, is it going to rain today? See, so they don't answer your question. They just say something that doesn't, give you a clue. You know what I mean? Like, if you say to someone like, do you think that, we'll get married someday, to your boyfriend? And he says, I never did marry any of my other girlfriends. That's not really, answering your question. Do you think that me and you are going to get married? He's just saying, well, I really didn't marry my other girlfriends. Yeah, but that doesn't answer the question, do you think you'll marry me? Are we headed toward marriage or not? So another thing, excuses. Sometimes people will make up excuses, not doing anything, rather than directly say, like regularly getting sick, in a way that so they can avoid their responsibilities, like that. Like Linda could have said, oh, I can't go to your party. I'm sick, when she really wasn't sick at all. You know what she ended up doing? She told me, instead of going to my son's birthday party, she went to an office Christmas party instead. That's what she did. Instead of going to her best friend's son's party for his birthday, she went to an office party. Now, she told me that if she was passive aggressive, she could have just lied and said, I was sick. I'm sorry, I couldn't go because I was sick. Or forgetting an appointment or something, That's passive aggressive too. Like conveniently forgetting, Have you ever done that? Like conveniently forgetting something that you really didn't want to go to anyway. Oh, I forgot. Or if you said to someone like, are you going to be able to attend this meeting held on Wednesday at 5 o'clock at the end of the work? Your boss says, 5 o'clock at the end of the workday, I'm holding a meeting about this material. It's very important. And then you don't show up because you want to, it's 5 o'clock, like, the Flintstones. Yabba dabba doo, you want to get the hell out of there. Yabba dabba doo. And then the next morning you go, there was a meeting? Yeah, I told you yesterday and you said you'd go. Oh, I don't remember saying that. Really? Passive aggressive. Come on. Haven't you been guilty of that? I know I have. And I know you must know someone who has too. The next thing is sarcasm for passive aggressiveness, okay? You know, those comments that really that after someone says it, you sit there and you go, like say you got a new haircut, right? You had long hair and you cut it short, and someone says, "Oh, don't you look pretty?" And like that, they said I looked pretty, but I don't feel pretty. I don't think they think I'm pretty. You know, it's all in the tone and the pitch of the way they say it, you know. Something like that, where they're just they're saying it in such a tone of voice that it doesn't come across as sincere, you know, just like that example I gave you. Like, "Oh, don't you look pretty with your new very, very short haircut?" And also, as a backhanded compliment, too. Like, those are very big passive aggressives, where someone really sticks it to you, but they sugarcoat it, so you're unsure of if they're trying to give you a compliment or try to, you know, give you an insult. What is it? Are they complimenting you or insulting you? Like, if you got a new job and someone says, "Oh, congratulations on getting the job. How'd you ever manage to do that?" Like, what? You know, they're congratulating me, which is great. I feel good. They said, "Congratulations, you got a new job. How'd you ever manage to do that?" Like, what do you mean, how'd I ever manage to do that? What do you think, that I'm not good enough, that no one would want to hire me? Or if they said to you, "Oh, congratulations, you got a new job. Wow, you must be lucky." That it had nothing to do with, you know, your ability to do the job or your talent. It was just luck, you know. See, so it's a backhanded compliment. Like if you say, "Oh, how do I look in this dress?" And someone says, "Well, the dress looks nice for your particular figure." What does that mean for my particular figure? You know, I mean, you start later on analyzing what they said. You know, I've done this a million times, and like, I'll think they're complimenting me in the beginning, but later on, when I go home, I'll think of I'll run it over in my head, and I'll say, "What does she mean? It looks good in you for my type of figure. What does that exactly mean?" You know, instead of just saying that dress looks nice on you, you look really pretty, period. They have to add something to it, you know? Backhanded compliments, you know? There's lots of passive aggressive behaviors out there, and I've just named a few. I don't have too much more time here, or I don't want to bore you to death. But so let me know if you can, you know, relate to any of the things that I did say about passive aggressiveness. If you can relate it to yourself, or if you can relate it to anyone in your family or your friends, to other people who have been passive aggressive to you. And let's have an ongoing dialogue about it. Tell me your thoughts, your opinions, you know, your personal experiences with passive aggressiveness. I shared some of my personal passive aggressiveness with you, how I was passive aggressive, how I did not communicate effectively about how I felt, how I just avoided the conflict and sweep it under the rug and not deal with it. How I never learned as a child. My feelings were never accounted for, never accepted. They were always put down, so I never knew how to, you know, effectively communicate in a way to be heard, you know, Instead, I act passive aggressively. All right. Until next time, let me know if you want me to cover any certain topics you might be interested in, and stay tuned.